Hey, welcome to the Jess Project. I'm Jessica, and I'm going to show you about, I don't know, a lot. I'm going to show you a few cards with strips, bits, leftovers, little pieces. And the first one I'm going to do is a Father's Day card, I guess you could say. Doesn't have to be a Father's Day card, but it's kind of like that. So I just got a few things out. This one's going to be on the inside of the card, and the circle was for the front of the card. And I'm just going to do basic straight strips for this particular one, just to show you one simple example. And that's the backing for the greeting part on the front. And I've got my little silicone mat, just in case I get some glue running over the edges. And I've got 4 strips there that I'm just going to try to space out evenly on the front of the card, which I think they're 3/4 by 3/4 by 5. And this is something that you can play with because you can use actual ends of paper that you have left over and just try to coordinate pieces. Or of course you can decide to make these cards and cut up all your paper and just mix and match it as you like. You can cut different sizes, different shapes, you can put it different directions, which I'll show you that there are many different ways that I've put together. I've put together some cards and some I just did some background pieces to use for later, with a couple different types of designer series paper that I used. This particular one I think was from the last catalog. It just retired. And it had a motorcycle theme. I don't have the actual stamp set and dies that went with the paper, just the paper. But the stamp set and dies are still available, so I could still pick those up if I wanted to, but the paper is not available anymore, so I picked that up. My dad likes motorcycles. And just to add a little bit of extra decoration, I just throw some twine on the back of that, stick it down. You don't have to do anything too fancy. Let's stick some twine on, stick a couple of embellishments on, and you got yourself a card. I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals. So I'm not actually going to take the paper off the back of those sticky ones because they don't need to stick down. It's going to be popped up. So place that on the top half, center-ish. And like I said, a couple more little black dot embellishments. Hard to decide where to put them sometimes. And then basic card done. If you have scraps lying around, it's easy to put these together. So here are some other ones I made with the same paper. You see I did 2 different diagonals with that one. That one I did in the other direction with more strips, more shorter strips. It's another Father's Day card. And here's some I did with some other older paper from Valentine's Day, I think it was, but I still have a lot of paper to use up. So that one I did totally on one diagonal. And then there's some skinnier pieces, fewer pieces, not covering the whole front of the card is an option. That one I went a little bit different and did some die cutting to add to the front. Then I had some, well, they're not really squares, are they? Square-like pieces that I just added to a piece of printer paper. So I didn't waste my cardstock, but I had a backing to line everything up on. And then that one I wanted to keep some of the card front showing, so then I used a piece of cardstock. And these are all just ready to go to add to a card, to add a greeting to. If I want to do different directions, different diagonals, different designs, straight, vertical, horizontal, different top, bottom corners are free. That one I did with strips of cardstock pieces instead of DSP. And so I decided afterwards that I better do a quick little demo, at least, of how I line things up on the cards. So when I wanted to do a diagonal, I had to make sure that the starting pieces, at least, covered from edge to edge, because I didn't want to do 2 pieces in one direction. So I had to make sure that I got all the bits covered up by the pieces that I chose. And it's going to hang off the edge. That's totally normal. That's the way you want it. You just have to make sure you cover up all the spots that you want to cover up. So eventually you may have to use a tiny little piece just to cover a corner or an edge that didn't quite fit if you don't have all the right scraps that you need. But this is the way that I like to do it. Just add a bit of glue, add your piece, go to the next one. And if you want to do them straight, you can always use a piece of grid paper like I have underneath, so you can measure, make sure everything's got the distance that you want it to, or you can do them side by side, right up next to each other. So see, I have a little itty bitty corner left there that didn't get covered. So I just gotta grab some little edge that I cut off before, stick that on there so it will be covered up. Glue on the fingers. You don't want it to stay on the fingers. Stick to the paper. So then you should wait a little bit longer than me to have it fully dried, and then flip it over so that you can see the edge and cut straight along the edge. And you've got your design. Make sure you're using your sticky scissors because you're gonna probably get a bit of glue on there. And then with this design, you can stamp right on the top, or you can add something to the top of the piece and add a backing and turn it into your card. Here's a refresh of some of the cards that I made. Hope you enjoyed the video and come back again for another. Please leave me a comment, like, subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now.